3, 2, 1, action. Boom, boom, boom. Shoom. Whoosh, boom, bam. Boom, down. Shoom. Bam.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Dave Filoni and the cast of Ahsoka have been talking about Season 2, posting a bunch of footage and scenes recently. I know there's been a ton of questions about young Ahsoka coming back for more live-action Clone Wars flashbacks. Probably one of the best parts of Season 1, so we'll break it all down. There are a lot of things Dave Filoni has revealed about what their plans are for the future of all these characters.
This is where the fun begins.
If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. There are about 3 Star Wars series that are coming throughout 2024. I'll talk about them later in the video because it won't be Ahsoka Season 2. It'll be a little while before that actually happens. Same thing for The Mandalorian Season 4. Like, they're getting ready to start filming The Mandalorian Season 4. Still gonna be a while before we actually see those episodes. But recently, you probably saw the Dave Filoni super post with a big info dump on the state of the Star Wars universe right now. He was basically revealing that he'd been promoted inside Lucasfilm, and he was sort of like this creative overseer of all Star Wars stories now, which we basically assumed that he'd already become a long time ago. They just formalized it the last couple years. Sort of like a Kevin Feige type of figure inside the Star Wars universe. But inside Dave Filoni's post when he was talking about all that, he mostly talked about the future of the Mandoverse, which is like all the stuff happening on the Ahsoka series, the stuff on the Mandalorian, the Thrawn movie that he's supposed to be directing, and the Skeleton Crew series, like all those series that are connected in that part of the timeline. But because his job is overseeing all Star Wars creatively now, he's handling all the stuff that's happening in the live-action movies and the different parts of the timeline too, but those are all separate from what's happening on the Mandalorian and Ahsoka. His super post and everything the cast has been saying is like all over the map just in general, but together they've all kind of given away the direction that most of this is headed, like where they're heading with Ahsoka Season 2, the future of these characters. For the most part, Dave Filoni revealed they are planning on Ahsoka Season 2, as well as Rosario Dawson. Like, yeah, feel pretty sure we're getting Ahsoka Season 2. There are a couple issues that they have to correct with the way that they told Season 1. I'll address that later in the video. There are like a couple clear complaints that people had, even people that loved Season 1, like there's still a couple issues that they need to address. And even though they didn't completely spoil what's happening during Season 2, they basically say that all the story threads that they set up, like a lot of the really clear stuff that they set up at the end of Season 1, they will continue during Season 2. Some of that they'll continue on other series like The Mandalorian Season 4 and the Thrawn movie though too as well. Like not all of it will just be on Ahsoka Season 2. And thankfully, after the Season 1 finale, Dave Filoni did clarify what some of the ending scenes meant for some of the characters or what he intended for them to mean. One of the things he talked about specifically was bringing back Hayden Christensen as different versions of Anakin Skywalker in different types of scenes, even though technically it was meant to be the same Anakin Skywalker, just revealing himself to Ahsoka in different ways, in different forms. First it was inside the World Between Worlds, then later in the series as a regular Force ghost. So if it wasn't clear, it was always meant to be the same Anakin Skywalker speaking or watching Ahsoka in both episodes. As he exists now in Force Ghost form, Anakin and any other Force Ghost like Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi could do what Anakin Skywalker did with Ahsoka throughout the series. Probably one of the best parts of Season 1 was getting the live-action Clone Wars flashbacks with the younger Ahsoka played by Ariana Greenblatt. Most of you remember her as young Gamora from Avengers Infinity War. She was also just in the Barbie movie without any special makeup effects. Like, this is what she looks like without all of her makeup on. She just posted a whole bunch of scenes and videos with her and the other cast members, particularly Hayden Christensen doing Anakin and young Ahsoka stuff. It's all great to see. I wish they'd post more of it. They're getting really meta here, especially when she's standing with like the older Rosario Dawson version of Ahsoka. So after young Ahsoka's debut, of course everyone was asking when she's coming back too. Like, why aren't they doing a full live-action Clone Wars TV series with her and Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi all the time? Like, why don't you just do an entire series that's just this? The really easy answer for that is mostly budget, and they already did the Clone Wars TV series. It just happens to be animated. The funny thing about that, most people don't realize this, is that Lucasfilm almost lost money on the Clone Wars TV series. Like, they weren't really making money on it because George Lucas was funding it out of pocket, and they spent so much money on the budget. If you go back and you watch the episodes and then compare them to the Star Wars Rebels episodes, you can kind of tell the budget on Star Wars Rebels was way smaller than the budget on the Clone Wars. Part of that was because when Disney did Star Wars Rebels, they actually wanted to make money on it. And when George Lucas did the Clone Wars, like before that, he just wanted to make a really amazing series and didn't care about how much money they made on it. You can kind of tell during the live-action Ahsoka episodes that they spent a ton of money doing those Clone War flashbacks, even as small as they were. Like they blew a ton of their budget doing that, even though it was totally worth it. Doing a full live-action Clone Wars TV series would be like doing a Star Wars movie every single week with that level of budget every single week. Like you thought Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon had expensive episodes like $10, $12 million per episode. Imagine $100 million per episode. So I don't think they're going to do any kind of live-action Clone Wars full TV series, but yes, they do plan to bring young Ahsoka back in live action. Like, of course they're going to bring her back, along with Anakin, because he's critical to a large part of what's happening during Ahsoka. Not just the young Ahsoka scenes and the flashbacks, but also the present-day storyline with Baylan Skoll and what he plans to do. But because they try to do slightly different things with each new season of The Mandalorian, for instance, they're probably going to do the same thing with Ahsoka. So we get more young Ahsoka in the future. It'll probably be them showing scenes from Ahsoka's life flashbacks that they haven't done in any medium yet before. And there is a lot of Ahsoka's backstory that has not been covered yet. Dave Filoni also made some key changes to the way they explain the world between worlds. So yes, Ahsoka can also still travel there in the future. So the way they presented young Ahsoka on Ahsoka Season 1 is that it was really just the consciousness of older Ahsoka in the younger Ahsoka's body. When Ariana Greenblatt was playing young Ahsoka, she was still the older version of Ahsoka. So they still haven't actually done a young version of Ahsoka playing young Ahsoka. They can do that with flashbacks in Season 2. Part of the idea with the way the world between worlds works, like this whole concept of time travel in the Star Wars universe, even though Dave Filoni himself tries to say that it's not about time travel, he's kind of right the way that he talks about it. Part of the idea is they say it's more of a metaphysical place that your consciousness travels to, not your physical body. So when Ahsoka was time traveling, so to speak, like she was kind of time traveling, it was really just her consciousness inside her younger body. That's why the younger Ahsoka remembered everything from present day. Like, wait a minute, things didn't go down this way. Like, you weren't here when this was happening. What's going on? That's why she got so confused in those final scenes with Anakin Skywalker, like he wasn't there during that battle because he was back on Coruscant saving Emperor Palpatine because it was the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. But one of the big things that Dave Filoni did reveal is that they plan on continuing Baylan Skoll's storyline where they left off with him on the statues of the Mortis gods looking out over the beacon in the distance. Now, he didn't spoil too much about his story. He didn't specifically say whether or not they would recast the Baylan Skoll character because Ray Stevenson did pass away in real life. May he rest in peace. He was fantastic during the season. But all that storyline that they set up was so critical to the future of what's happening in this part of the timeline, just in general, like even on the Mandalorian series, that they wouldn't just leave that as some big cliffhanger that they never address. And essentially, Baylan Skoll said that he sought the beginning of all things, like the beginning of the Force itself. I think what he meant is that he sought to find the source of the Force, like the beginning of the Force, which would be connected to the Mortis realm. You could also say it's connected to the world between worlds as well, too. So one of the reasons why Anakin Skywalker is so critical to that storyline is because he's serving as sort of like a guardian of the Force, keeping the cosmos, so to speak, like the grand universe itself in balance. I did a video while Season 1 was still airing about how Anakin is essentially replacing the Mortis god, so to speak, like replacing the role that they served in the Force. He's kind of like the way that Loki exists right now in his god form at the end of Loki Season 2, watching over everything, keeping everything in balance, so to speak. That's actually something that the father told Anakin that he was destined to become back during the Mortis episodes of the Clone Wars. If you haven't watched those episodes, I would recommend you check them out. Like, you don't need to watch every single episode of the Clone Wars. They're just a couple really critical ones, and the Mortis ones are some of those. During the live-action Ahsoka series, they established that Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka as these two Ronin Jedi, sort of on parallel arcs, so to speak. So I think that Dave Filoni is setting up this grander plan that Baylan Skoll has to affect the entire universe on a massive scale by manipulating the Force itself, taking this power for himself. And ultimately, it will be Ahsoka to be the one to stop him from doing that. So if they're going back to the Mortis realm eventually, they're like some non-canonical now, like some expanded universe lore that gets into this source of the Force in the Mortis realm. Going back to the Mortis realm would be a really easy way to do more young Ahsoka flashbacks, with younger Ahsoka appearing with Anakin Skywalker in his younger form to reference their time there during the Clone Wars episodes. Mortis is also critical to Ahsoka's backstory in that she essentially died there and was brought back to life when the daughter sacrificed her remaining portion of her life to her. So now in present day, Ahsoka has a portion of the daughter's life force inside her. The same with Mirai, the Force Owl, is the avatar of the daughter. Like, not the daughter herself, just an avatar of her, but you get the idea. Both of them are like the continuation of the daughter. That's why a lot of people thought early on that Ahsoka would become another Mortis god the way that Anakin is replacing the Mortis gods, and maybe Baylan Skoll sought to take their power and kind of replace them as well. And maybe that's why they reference the Mortis gods so heavily in all of his ending scenes. Like, next stop, Mortis. Dave Filoni supposedly had most of Ahsoka Season 2 plotted out and partially written before the strikes began earlier in 2023, but the way he talked about it recently, it sounds like there's still a lot of work to do before they actually start filming it. Disney also just generally delayed all the Marvel series, the Star Wars series, all the movies because of the strikes, and because they're completely reorganizing how they do TV series behind the scenes, now their Star Wars plan for 2024 is the Acolyte High Republic series. That's not connected to The Mandalorian or Ahsoka, that's like its own completely separate thing. Skeleton Crew episodes are supposed to release at the end of 2024 now. That is an Ahsoka Mandalorian crossover show. I'll do separate videos about that when we get some more actual footage. And then The Bad Batch Season 3 is supposed to happen somewhere between those series. They already confirmed The Mandalorian Season 4 is like the next big thing they're working on. Like, all the Mandalorian Season 4 crew members and the cast members have started to marshal and are getting ready to film episodes. Now there's no way they could release that till 2025. There have been all kinds of rumors about them turning Season 4 into a movie. Right now, I'm not going to pay attention to those until we start hearing that from like a billion other reliable sources in official channels, like official announcements, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. There are a couple big issues that they do need to fix from Ahsoka Season 1 for Season 2, and it's mostly just doing a better job of helping new viewers and people who didn't watch the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels episodes connecting with all those characters. They do have The Mandalorian Season 4. They have a couple years before Ahsoka Season 2 would be ready to be released to figure out a lot of that stuff. So let me know in the comments, how do you want them to address some of the big complaints from Ahsoka Season 1? Really excited, though, for them to go super deep on Night Sisters now in this part of the timeline. I just did another video talking a little bit more about The Mandalorian Season 4. Click here to learn about that, and then click here for that Star Wars Acolyte trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.